So, Samantha Boss is the guest today on the Ex-Wives Lounge podcast. And I'm so beyond excited because her last name, excuse me, represents her to a T, which is she's a.
Absolutely. I
So,
love it.
welcome to the lounge, Sam.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, excited to share.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. To those women that are dealing with a narcissistic ex-husband, what is the first step that you have learned in your own personal journey to build healthy boundaries to not only protect your mental and emotional health, but to also protect your children's?
Man, starting out with a banger. I
Bang.
would say I would say first and foremost, build your Avengers, build your team, build your resources. And that doesn't have to be people, it could just be things and items, and I can go through that. I think when you're dealing with somebody who's narcissistic, a sociopath, a psychopath, whatever, just mentally not stable, you're not going to be able to tag this alone. You have to have the right kind of people and the right kind of education around it. It's not going to be an easy path. There's no straight line to get there. It's usually got a bump and turns and twists and hills and valleys in it. And that's typical when dealing with somebody that's not stable, right? And so I think building strong family, strong friends, and sometimes that also means at the same breath taking out friends and family that are not going to assist you with this journey with them. Because again, that narcissist has made everything seem perfect. And when you say, I don't want to be with you anymore, your friends and family may be like, girl, what are you doing? You got a good man. He works, he provides. What are you doing? Because they're not in your home. So sometimes we have to edit, but then also times we have to open up and tell the truth to our friends and family, like, no, shit is really bad. And I need to tell you some things. And you need to be on my side. And here's what I'm going to need 2 in the afternoon phone calls and possibly 2 in the morning phone calls to keep me on the straight and narrow with this path. So I think people, number one, around you, and good therapists and good personal development and taking care of your health. I think people in this spot underestimate health. You
Yes.
have to be sleeping well. You have to be eating well. You have to stop drinking as much. If at all, I would probably cut it out. Obviously not relying upon any kind of drugs to function because narcissists love to catch you at your weakness. And so you have to build a team of people and keep yourself educated. Now, what I don't want you to do though is to go deep diving and read 55 books about narcissists. I'm gonna just tell you, you don't need to read the books. You lived the life. You lived it firsthand. You're the most educated person about your type of narcissist.
You're
What
right.
you need to do is read books about you. What are you bad at? Are you a people pleaser? Read that book. Are you a forgiver? Read that book. Are you too much of an empath? Read that book. You need to build yourself up because there is nothing, absolutely nothing that will ever change about this narcissist. My narcissist, I've been with him for 20 years, right? He's been in my life for 20 years. He ain't ever going to change. Oh my gosh, he's been in my life 22 years. Do the math. 22 years. That man is still the exact same version of himself that he was all those years ago. He has never changed. The only thing that has changed is how I let him in. That's it. Which, by me getting all of the right people, all of the right education, all of the right things in my mind flowing health wise, what I'm listening to, how I'm doing affirmations, all that things, all that did was be duplicated into my children. Once I learned it, my children learned it, and then we were all protected because, again, he's never changed. I adapted and grew and figured out how to protect myself. My children watched and they mirrored it and they adapted and grew and they protect themselves. So
Mhm.
it's a long, complicated process, but it's possible.
It
It's
is.
absolutely possible.
It is possible. And I do think, through some girlfriends that I've seen personally go through it, the biggest positive that they can do is, instead of wallowing in the, oh my gosh, why is this happening to me? Why am I going through this? You almost have to take it on as a challenge,
Hmm.
shift your mindset, and you have to say, I'm in survival mode now, but I need to survive for myself and for my children because as the one constant, I'm sure, as most are to their children, the children are role playing off of you. They're watching you and they're seeing how you handle the circumstance and they are learning from you. They are sponges.
I,
So I
I
completely agree with you on that.
there's moms out there that reach out to me as a divorce coach and like, how do I get my kid to tell the other parent what they want to do? How do I get my kid to stand up for themselves? How do I get my kid to see this? And I'm like, first off, sister, do you see it? Do you stand up for yourself? Has that kid ever seen you hold a boundary? Has that kid ever seen you say no? Has that kid ever seen you walk away, hold your hand up and say not today? I'm not, your kid feeds off of the energy you're showing. So if you're a people pleaser and you're like, because I have these moms too, they say, oh, Sam, it's just easier if I just do it.
Mhm.
Sam, it's just easier if I give in. Sam, it's easier if I just, if I let him just have it, so then your kid is watching you just let them have it, just give in, just say yes. So then you wonder why your kid's like, yeah, mom, but it's just easier if I say yes. And you're like, dang it, child, you should tell him no. That
Yes.
child's like, what kind of world are we living in, lady? You have never told him no a day, and you expect me to be I'm 12. You want me to tell him no? It's not going to happen. So, I mean, it all comes here first.
Yes.
We as moms literally have to get ourselves registered, emotionally regulated, strong, fit, mentally, physically, socially. Do you got the right people around you? Do you got bad people? Do you need to do an edit? Like, you have to be at your top best game. Then your kids are going to get so empowered and so just like, holy shit, do you see how much of a badass my mom is? She's telling not only my dad no, she told the neighbor to kiss her ass. She told teachers they need to do a better job. She told that guy at the store he was being rude. Like, she's assertive. She knows what she wants. She's talking with confidence. She doesn't let anybody take advantage. She has her head on her straight. She's just I want to be like her. Right. Instead of like in the corner crying and being like, what'd your dad say?
Right.
Did it, no, meek and mild isn't going to get your kids to change shit. They're going to be meek and mild.
Right.
And then that narcissist is going to be gas pedal down. I'm taking advantage of not only mom, now I'm going to warp the kids into believing that I'm just the most amazing person in the world. And everybody's going to follow me now. And I'm going to be the lead forever.
Exactly. It's for me too. I look at it and I go, if you wanted to be that meek individual, then you should have stayed in the marriage.
You could have, because that's what you were.
Right?
You
You
were.
have the opportunity now to change the outcome. And so
Yes.
instead of being that meek woman in the background that's still living in fear, fearful of judgment, fearful of what are they going to think of me, you have the opportunity now to step it up and be in that role that you so badly thought your child deserved.
Right. And
So
in the
why
long-term game,
that?
the long-term game is, and this was something that rattled me to my core. My daughter was about, I think she was like 14, and I was going to therapy and I was talking about like, how did my son figure this out at 11? And he left his dad because he saw that it was dangerous. He saw that it wasn't mentally safe. How is my daughter still going? Like, how? Because we didn't talk bad about him. We let her figure it out at her own pace, but we were like, how is she still going? It's been years. How is she tolerating? How is she putting up with this? Blah, blah, blah. And my therapist was like, but are you showcasing anything to her that it's okay for her to say that she doesn't feel comfortable? And I'm like, I think so. I don't know. And I said, I'm just worried about her being so people pleasing. She's so worried about him. She's so consumed with him because what's he doing? He's saying, hey, Joe, you're the last kid I got left out of three. I'm going to harm myself if you leave. I have nobody without you. You have to take care of me. I'm so lost when you're not here. I miss you so much. I don't even want you to go to college. Like this pity party for himself. So she felt parentification. I have to take care of him. I have to make him feel special, have to build his ego up, have to tell him he's a good person, have to go on dates with him, have to let him help me, all these things. And my therapist was like, if you don't teach her to stop being a people pleaser now, she's going to go to college and be a people pleaser with college boys.
Mm.
And I was like, holy shit, some narcissist at college is going to see her weakness and go, boop, I got her now,
Yes.
and control her for the whole 4 years. So I was like, so it just took a lot of like conversations about, hey, you're in high school. You should be doing this, this, and this. Your dad's a grown ass man. Hey, you should be, going out for coffee. Your dad's a grown ass man. He can go get himself stuff. He can go out with, like, you do what high school kids are doing, not what a girl who has a single dad who is making her feel sorry for himself, what he wants. You do what you want to do in high school. So it took a lot of 2 years of conversations for her to finally get the courage to go, like, I kind of want to just be a typical 16-year-old girl, not somebody's caretaker who is so weak that they need me to build them up every day.
And it's conditioning. And
Yes.
it's conditioning on that narcissistic parent's part to
Mm-hmm.
make the child feel guilty if they
Absolutely.
say no, because that's
Mhm.
exactly what they do in their marriages to their spouses.
Yes.
And so when that spouse is gone and you know uh they don't have that attention, they don't have the source,
Yes.
they turn to the children and they look for the children as that source.
Absolutely. And it's disturbing. And so many kids feel that. Like, and I took it at the very beginning. I mean, my daughter was 1 when I left. I took it as, look at this girl be sweet. This girl is such a caregiver. She's so empathetic for people, especially him. Like she's a good kid. She's cleaning for him. Like she is such a good kid. She got labeled as such a good kid her whole life. But in reality, she didn't know who she was because she was modeling what she did to be safe,
Right.
which was provide for him and care for him and stroke his ego for him and make him feel valuable and important. And he leaned on her so hard that she didn't even know who she was herself at that house. Now, at my house, this girl had free will. She was wild. She was, herself. She had a great personality. But when I saw her around him at sporting events, I didn't recognize her because she would conform to what he wanted. And it was unrecognizable,
Right.
how shut down she was because she had to perform for him and she got to be herself around me. So when we were in the same spot at the same time, confusion would set in and she always went to what she was most scared of was disappointing him. She knew she could disappoint me and I would still love her through it. She knew she could act different. I would still be like, I wouldn't call her out because I knew what she was living,
Correct.
and the double life. So it was very hard watching kids the whole time. And 1 and 3, all the way up to, adulthood, watching them engage with him. And they were going through the same shit I did when I was married to him.
Was that triggering you? Would that ever trigger you?
It made me feel guilty for a lot of years. A lot of years of like, gosh, I'm the reason they have this person. I picked him. I chose to have kids with this person. I went through a lot of therapy for that and forgave myself a long time ago and had very detailed conversations with my teenage children about it. And we all talked about it and we forgave each other and it is what it is. And they wouldn't be here if I hadn't. And they forgave me. Forgave me way faster than I forgave myself. But we're all these people now. Like both my son and daughter from that marriage, we're the type of people we can see pain on people faster than the person probably sees pain on themselves. And we're the first ones there to say, hey, let me help you with that. Hey, are you okay today? Hey, let me help. So, because of their life and what they went through, they're much better human beings and they know that they have triggers that will make them fold like a deck of cards. They have enough training with therapists to know their triggers and things like that. And when they're getting taken advantage of and when they're being manipulated, and they can see it so much clearer. I didn't see that shit till my 40s,
Girl, you're
and they seen it at teenage
choir.
years.
You're preaching to a choir. It took me
Right.
in my 30s to realize that. And
Yeah.
like you and I spoke about before we started this interview, we came from households where we didn't feel like we had to survive.
Right.
We came from loving households with
Right.
two non-narcissistic parents,
Mm-hmm.
who proved with actions and not just words. And
Right.
so when you're growing up in that environment, personally speaking, you assume that everybody out in the world is going to treat you the same exact way that, your family treated you or your parents
Right.
treated you. And then
Yes.
you realize that there's people out there that don't have your best interest at heart.
Yeah, it took me a long time to realize that. I mean, married my husband after 4 years, got pregnant right away, had another baby right away, and I knew I wanted out. And I really thought for all those years he was an asshole. He drugged me through court for many years. And through that court process, he labeled me as crazy, labeled me as the problem, and he wanted a psych eval. I didn't know what that was. I didn't, I was so nervous taking this test.
Of
My
course.
psych eval comes back as a rebellious. She will toe the line, sometimes cross it, but deep down she is a rule follower. And I was like, they made that sound like it was the worst thing in the world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, well, what's his going to come back as, right?
Yeah.
He failed his first. He failed his second. He failed his third. And they could not come up with a conclusion because he kept failing these tests, which to fail one of these, I don't even know how you got to fuck it up so bad, but he did. But
Yeah.
he ended up having to be tested in front of a board of people. And it came back that he was a sociopath. So here's a man that wanted a psych eval to prove that I was crazy. And then it comes out that he's a sociopath and a narcissist. And I didn't know what to do with that diagnosis. And then my court system didn't know what to do with that diagnosis because they said, well, you've been going through this divorce for so long and he's been this way forever. So he's not doing ill harm to the children physically. So he's always been this way. So we're not even going to give it any credit. So we went through all those hoop jumping for nothing to come. We have a diagnosis and it doesn't mean anything, right? Which again, family court system is behind the times with mental health and psychological abuse. So anyways, fast forward, we jump right into 50-50 after 8-day courts. Our court said, after 8 days of spending lawyer money, just go ahead and keep doing 50-50. It was a gut punch, right? And so we do the 50-50. 18 months later, I get a call that my oldest stepchild was abused. So my children got to come back to me full time. We went through supervised visits. And then we came to the point where we know supervised visits can't last forever. And they come to me and they say, the kids have to go back. And I'm like, what's that schedule look like? And they said, because they're so young, they don't remember the abuse. So throw them back to 50-50. Okay. Okay, that sounds peachy. So we did that. And it was mental warfare on my children. And again, this whole time, I'm still thinking he's just an asshole who hates me. And so this whole time of 8 years, I'm kissing his ass, bending over backwards, being the best co-parent I can, including him, taking pictures, sending him information, oversharing so much because I'm just like, maybe if I just kiss his ass, he'll stop being nuts. He'll stop obsessing with me. He'll stop, he put cameras in my house. He broke into my computer. He had tracking on my car. He followed me everywhere. He would load the kids up and follow me on the weekends that I didn't have the children. He logged into my social medias at 2 o'clock in the morning and then would make everything, he would read everything and then mark them unread and all of it, and admitted to all of it because I was such a danger to my children.
Emotionally
But
unstable.
yeah, I was such a danger to my children.
Yeah, you're
So
unstable, Samantha.
so this whole time I'm thinking he's just an asshole. And then, I was seeking so much therapy because I'm like, I'm going nuts. Like, this is ridiculous. No matter what I do, he still hates me. Like, what's wrong with me? What he had me believing, what is wrong with me that he can't just like me and just be these co-parent situations that I see on TV or I see out in the world. Like, I want them. I want to sit by each other. I want to wear matching shirts. I still want to do Christmas together. Like, I wanted that. And he was like, no. So when my therapist started talking about narcissism, I'm like, I mean, I got the diagnosis, but like, I don't know what that means. And she started telling me, and then I started reading all the books. And all the books, I'm like, well, that's my life. That's my life. That's my life. That's my life. But there wasn't a book that was like, but here's what you do as a co-parent stuck with this person. You're divorced from him. I don't have to sleep with him anymore, but I'm still stuck with him. He
Right.
doesn't disappear. He's living fucking 6 blocks from me, right? And plus he's tracking all my vehicles. There wasn't a book like that. So then it was just trial and error on like what would work, what would not work. And slowly but surely, I got my health under control, which made my mental health get a lot better. Which in my mental health, I learned about boundaries and I learned about self care and I learned self regulation. And then it was just a matter of like, I'm going to put a boundary here. And he acted like a toddler every fucking time. And then I would just make another boundary and he'd act like a toddler every time. So then he left me alone. And I thought, oh my gosh, it worked.
Peace.
And and then I figured out that nope, he just switched all of his energy from me to the children.
Us.
And then it was a matter of gaslighting the children and manipulating the children and making them feel bad about everything and asking them questions. Where's your mom going? Who's she with? Let's drive past her house. Let's go check on her. Tell me what the house looks like. And my kids were like, Ma, he's not picking on you anymore. He's picking on us now. And then it became a spiral. It was out of control. The obsession. I call it paranoia with obsession. He was paranoid of everything that I did and obsessed with me at the same time. But he was paranoid that by chance the kids would love me. By chance the kids would, and again, it wasn't a contest to me, but it was to him that they would love me more or feel better about being with me and unsafe with him. So therefore, he had demolished me to make him look better. He had to make me look bad so he could look good.
Yeah, always having to feel like he's winning.
Always. I mean, it was a competition
Yeah,
on everything,
right,
everything. And for me, it was just like, I'll take a loss if it just means no conflict.
correct.
But to him, everything had to be a win.
Mm.
Everything. I mean, it was exhausting. I don't know how I survived it, quite honestly. I think it's because I didn't know. I didn't know what I was in. If I would have the tools I have now, I'd be dangerous back then. It would have been nipped in the butt real fast. But I just kept prolonging the inevitable because I didn't know what I had. I was so blind to it. And I had all these people saying, you have to co-parent. You have to do what's best for your kids. You have to still talk to them. You have to engage with them. You have to let them in your house. You have to sit by them. You have to do all these things because you're divorced doesn't mean those kids need to feel that way.
Right.
So I had all this pressure from people making me feel like, but I'm like, yeah, but he's not like Steve over there who like loves his ex-wife and still gets her a Mother's Day card and still gives her a hug and a kiss. Like they're still best friends. We don't have that shit. But you're wanting me to act like Steve and Stacy over here? We don't have that type of relationship.
Yeah,
So I was getting the guilt trip of horribleness because I couldn't have Steve and Stacy's ideal still best friends co-parenting journey because maybe Steve wasn't a sociopath.
well, and that's